Hi everyone, and welcome to today's market analysis show. It's great to have your company today. It's one of those weeks really where I am really thrilled to have a trading team with me because in all honesty, it is interesting. I think it's a week where we've seen these US dollar moves that we thought were going to break us out of these ranges, and instead of breaking us out of these ranges, they've just retraced straight back in, and probably due to make a decision. Gold also just hesitated today, and also perhaps due to make a decision for us not far away. I guess big move down, consolidation in here. I'll come out to the Euro daily, the dollar move, and bit sideways, big dollar move back into it, and lots of them doing the same kind of stuff. And I am pleased I've got a team to come in and talk about what's going to go on today, because with the exception of oil, which just kept marching on, is approaching some pretty serious resistance at 74.60 odd for mine. I would expect to see a bit of hesitation there. I have turned the little trading robot down on that on the risk side while we get through that area there. But really, it's a market that it just cries out to me indecision. Even the Bitcoin, which continues to hang around inside this range between 42,000 and 30,000, where I think it's going to be for a little while. Put in the big selling day on options expiries on Friday, but even that turned out with a 4-hour bar that was a little bit bullish to close it up, and wouldn't just give us a nice bearish candle to finish on. And really, I've got to say, I'm pleased to have some people that can turn up and make some sense of this to me, because quite honestly, Julian, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Thank you, Paul. Hi folks, hello everybody, and welcome to another session. Hey, look, I'm not going to steal Ash's thunder. Ash came up with a really good explanation, I think, of what's going on. I think I have a bit of time for this, so I'll let him talk about it a little bit more. But the broad thrust of where he was going was that if this is a US dollar rally and a currency sell-off, then maybe a really good way of expressing it is via some of the commodities, and sort of by definition in that case then via some of those commodity or COMDOL currencies. So when you're looking at the market at the moment, it may be that you're better off looking at dollar CAD and the Aussie for some of your moves than you may be to look at the euro, because it's a little bit more complicated with that. Having said that, right, here's the thing, right? So we had the Fed meeting, we had the big sell-off, and what have we done this week? You count 5 days back. Thank you, Paul, for leaving that up there. You count 5 days back on this chart, and what I'm seeing there is a retest, thank you, Paul, of the low of the box, and a very gradual, if you like, rethink about maybe what the Fed said. However, what we haven't done is we haven't rallied back in this case, because we're looking at the Aussie here, back to the 77.80 level, to the top of the box. We haven't completely rejected the downside just yet in these currencies. So why is that? Well, because the talk was of a raising interest rates, of the US economy doing better than anybody else, yada, 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 dot plots, etc. You guys know this, right? You've all read the piece about the Fed. So when I look at this and I'm seeing this, what I'm seeing here is a bounce, but I'm not seeing a convincing bounce. Friday sort of convinced me, if that's possible, I'll use a double convincing, of the fact that the bounce hasn't been very strong. Could you put up gold for me, Paul, if that would be possible? Here's a very classic case, right, of what we're talking about. So if you look at the way gold has traded this week, what's it done? Absolutely nothing. For those of you that are interested in that technical picture, I'm sure Ainslie will talk about this. You're looking at a technical pattern here called, well, I call it a consolidation, a sideways consolidation, but what I definitely do not call it is a bounce, right? There is no bounce in that. What there is like a half-hearted dead cat thing that isn't going anywhere, right? In fact, it's probably not even a dead cat. I call it like a Wellington boot type of bounce. And so really for me, in the world of sell the weakest, if this US dollar rally is going to continue, then it wouldn't be a reach to say at this point that you'd be looking to short some gold before you sold maybe the Australian dollar or the Canadian. However, right, with our world of correlation of one, what got us here in the first place is the fact that everybody had the wrong positions on. Very clearly, there's a lot of people trapped above $1,800 in the gold market who simply can't get out of those positions. So then my point is, where are they going to sell? right? How much lower does this go before they finally give up? I wonder if we have to go down towards the 1720, 1730 area first, right? And I'm sure Ainslie will talk about technical levels later on, but at the moment, that chart doesn't look particularly constructive to me. It's still vaguely in some long-term monthly chart, vaguely bullish, but there's been so much technical damage done to the picture that it's just really hard, right? Exactly. Thanks, Paul. Why do you have such a big negative monthly pattern when you have such a positive monthly pattern the month before, right? That doesn't suggest to me that that's a market that wants to go up. So anyway, all of those things are sort of part and parcel of our decision-making process. So when I'm looking at the currencies, when I'm looking at gold at the moment, my continued question I've got to ask myself is, have people got out of their short US dollar, long everything else positions? And my conclusion is, I don't think they have. I think there's a bit of room to go yet. In that case, then the simple rule applies that you should continue to look at the technical picture and trade that and say, okay, right, in that case, let's continue to sell the currencies, buy the US dollar. We're expecting this thing to go lower. And I don't know where, I don't know how, and I don't know what extent it's going to go to, but for the time being, that seems to be the pattern. That will be made worse by the US rate starting to go higher again. I know they ticked higher on Friday, a few basis points. If that continues, I don't think that'll be good. If we see a further sell-off in the cryptos, I don't think that'll be good. So there's you know, there's a lot of premium built into all these financial markets, right? And people are still of the belief that things are going to go up, right? So here's my question, and I'll leave you with this because this is a really important way to think about trading. Do you know anybody who is and I know one person, so not quite nobody, but I do know one person who is bearish on copper, right? And there's the key thing, right? So when you're thinking about trading, right, and you're looking around and you're listening to all those inputs that you see from all the different coaches and the different news sources and everything else, consider what everybody is saying, and you say, well, where is the sentiment? Is everybody one way? And if they are, it's a pretty good bet that at that point or soon after, the market's going to reverse. And I think we're hitting that camp still, where people are not bullish the US dollar, they're still bearish the US dollar, and this is just a correction. Well, in that case, let's see how far that correction can go, because I suspect it has further to go.
Cheers, Julian. Thank you very much for that. Certainly another interesting week ahead. And we'll come back next Sunday and see whether we just sort of popped in a direction. What we're just waiting for here is a move, puts in some higher highs and some higher lows and gives us a little bit of trend. And look, there's been one thing about it, right? So, you know, if you have a look at gold on this monthly chart or on this daily chart, there's been plenty of double bottom, higher low, higher low, higher. Great opportunities to get in that and make some money. We just got to wait for it to make a decision and create some patterns that we can trade again. And gosh, I'm hoping for those in the next couple of weeks. It has been pretty rough. I just say, Angel, a little bit of a lot of knowledge on that as well. Cheers, Julian. Thank you very much for that input. Much appreciated, really is. Next up, we've got Ash talking about Julian.
Yep, Julian, still here.
Mate, Ash having some problems getting in. While I just resolved that for him. Do you have anything else you can talk about for a couple of minutes? I
am in, mate. I just can't share my screen. I can speak, but I can't share my screen where we speak about the actual COT data because it's on the other system, and I can't seem to sign in twice. I need to be able to sign in twice so I can be on camera here and show the COT data on the other system. But yeah, if I could get another link, that'd be fantastic. But we can certainly discuss it.
I don't know how to. If you can get something through to Ash, that would be great. And you're looking for the COT data, right?
I've got the data. I just need another way to get into Zoom because it won't let me sign in twice. So I've got this sign in, but I need to be able to sign in again just so I can show you my other screen. So we can get that sorted. That'd be great. But we can certainly talk about what's going on with the COT data because one of the things that that we did notice was that there's not been as big a shift as we thought there would be. Thank you very much. I've just got that now. So let me see if I can sign in here. There we go. This might work. No. So it's saying I'm already joined in the meeting on another device, which is why I can't sign in twice. I don't know why. I mean, if anybody's got the COT data up, that would be another way to fix it. If anybody
I'm
can
trying
get
to get it now, Ash. I'll be as quick as I can, so I'm having
No
sure
problem.
with it.
Yeah. Yeah, what's been interesting is that we've seen these big moves in the market, but not necessarily kind of manifest themselves in the charts in the way that we thought they would. I will tell you from last week, the longs of the US dollar has actually decreased. I mean, from the Tuesday to Tuesday, they decreased down minus negative 58% on the longs, which is amazing. You know, it's something that I don't think we expected, or what I wouldn't have expected to see, considering the confidence right now that seemed to be passing into what the charts were telling us with the US dollar. But the longs actually decreased their positions by 58%, and only and the shorts also increased by 9%. So that might be quite significant. Here we go. Yeah, so you can see that. You can see that there.
So, Ash, where we are?
So if you go to the dollar, coming down to the dollar, just down a little bit further, there we go. US dollar index, yeah. And if you look at the look at last week's actual positions on the actual numbers of the data. So you know we can start with the 68%, 55%. But as we go along, you see that negative 58%. Now that is the accumulation of the long positions. So the longs have actually decreased their positions by 58%, and they've increased their shorts by 9%. So if we were going on that particular information alone, that wouldn't be particularly bullish US dollar. Now, it might be because the timing's not there. It might be, from the fact that the Fed have come out and stated something without actually without actually doing anything. What they decided to do is change the dot plot, and that's another 2 years away potentially. So where we saw that reaction with the dollar, if you were to look at that, that would suggest that the reaction that we had is a knee-jerk reaction. Now, I'd like to see this unfold a little further. I'd like to see whether, what are we getting this point right now where the Fed come out and say something, there's a knee-jerk reaction, and then people go, but hold on a minute, that's still another 2 years away. We can squeeze this for a little bit longer. And then we start to resume what looks to be the most sensible course the most sensible direction of travel, because what the ECB have come out and said, and what the Bank of England have come out and said, are quite a way off from what the Fed have said. You know, the Fed and Jerome Powell was, I think, surprisingly hawkish, even when he started to talk about jobs data, which hasn't really come in line with what they were initially discussing. What they were initially discussing was they need the jobs data to pick up so they can feel comfortable with raising the interest rates. But in the most recent speech, there was a slightly different tone. You know, the tone that I was reading was the jobs data is going to catch up. You know, we don't need to worry about the jobs data anymore. It's going to catch up. You know, now we're in this phase where the inflation transitory rhetoric is being diluted.Maybe it's not so transitory. You know, that's kind of what the picture I got. Maybe we're not in. Maybe some of it's transitory, but maybe there's something a little bit bigger and a little bit deeper going on. The jobs data will catch up. The jobs market looks good. We're starting to see businesses open up, so that data is logically going to be picking up. So we can change the course of direction. The Bank of England didn't say the same thing. You know, the Bank of England effectively said we're still where we were. The ECB didn't say the same thing. They effectively said, we're still where we were. So the Fed's a lot more hawkish if you just go a little bit more positive and everybody else kind of like maybe even a little bit more negative, that creates more of a margin between the two stances. So that would suggest to me long dollar. The COT data, when we're looking at this, is not suggesting long dollar from what we saw with the positions last week. However, that particular column really tells us what they were doing last week. So what we need to be looking for is what's the week that changes? You know, when does that start to kind of turn around again? Because from what I'm assuming with this is that we hit a level of resistance, we're going to come back again. But I personally think that the dollar long is now. I think now we've got a green light to go. So you know, it could be next week that we see that COT data then start to turn again in the favour of the bulls. Or it could be a few weeks down the road, because as I say, you know, we've got 2 years for this to play out. It might be a few data points that we're looking at, but I think the suggestion now is that a support level and a buy signal on the dollar, I think, is well worth trying to trade into.
Cheers, Ash. So give us the summary again. Looking to buy dollar, buy US dollar?
Yes. So we're looking to buy the US dollar, but the COT data is suggesting that the timing is still early for that to happen. So what we've seen is a knee-jerk reaction. You know, a lot of those commercials kind of come out of their long positions. And a lot of those commercials actually increase some of the short positions as well. So that's a suggestion that it might be a little bit early. And the reason that might have happened, the reason that the long positions came out so aggressively, may be because maybe there was a big accumulation going on down at 90, and maybe that there was quite a lot of profit taking when it hit the top of the resistance level. And now they're just waiting for it to come back and get back in. It's difficult to know what they're doing, but it's definitely saying to us that going long dollar is a shade early, if not very early. But it's definitely telling us it's a bit early. But my fundamental kind of bias now would be look for those signals to go long. The COT data saying hold fire just for right now. It's not ready yet.
Yep. So just looking at a chart of dollar CAD, mate, to have a bit of a look at what the dollar's doing. Certainly looks like not a bad idea to be getting, you know, the latest move when this is long dollar with a retracement, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's certainly what the fundamental hint would be. You know, there's nothing really substantial that we can say this is why. All I can say really is that the tone has changed from the Fed. And when the tone changes, that's when we start to go, well, we are ultimately speculators. You know, we're not people that go on concrete evidence, because by the time the concrete evidence is out, the move's done. So this is where the speculation aspect of trading comes into play. You know, can we start speculating in this area that we should be building a position with the dollar? And I think it's absolutely fine to kind of go in light with quite wide stops, just to kind of give it a little bit of breathing space, because the COT data is suggesting it's not going to explode in the next week anyway.
Cheers, mate. And for more updates on the cotton seasonal stuff, there's the strategy bias group where you cover the stuff and along with detail across all the currency pairs, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much for that. We're going to bring Ainslie in and talk gold. Ainslie, gold has been gold, isn't it? Goes one way, goes another way, and all of a sudden goes nowhere.
Looky. Look, we've got to love consistency, don't we?
Yep.
I think this is what we can say about gold. We're starting to understand. Well, if you've been listening for a while now, I guess you can understand exactly what has been happening with gold. We had the major sell-off after the Fed announcement, which was meant to be pretty boring, but unless you were gold. We had the major sell-off, and all we've done is just, we said this last Sunday night, is, okay, what does gold do after it's had a big move? She goes sideways. So true to form, she's gone sideways. And in a really, really tight range. You know, Julian said it's more of a bit of a, well, where to now? But is it looking for a bounce? Is it looking to continue on its way down? For me, it's really interesting because we've got a couple of things happening. If we pop over here to chart, second from the right, which is my weekly one. And this is one that we've had this huge bull flag on for quite some time. And we've watched as it sort of edged its way up and then it's come flying back down. And I put this level, and I'm not a fib trader at all, but it's sort of a chart I muck around with checking technical levels and seeing if anything makes any sense and can give me a bias in one direction or the other. And what we had here was, look at that, 50 fib. Straight, it's landed on the 50 fib. It's just, and that's just hugging it, holding off a grim death. I don't know whether it's scared and we're looking for a bit more of a move back down into this region here. I don't know, or whether we're looking at, hey, we've got, you know, a double bottom, we've had the lift off, we've had a retest, and now we're looking to go further. Don't know. I'm waiting to see what comes, because at the moment I have not got enough information there to trade it one way or the other. So I'm guessing, and I know, Paul, you can look it up on your MT4. I'm not on MT4 at the moment, but this one I'm presuming that the pivot is going to drop down to be closer around this level as well. So there would be the weekly pivot having a bit of a dip, but yeah, hang tight, because it's either going to hold strong onto this 1770-ish level, which is a really strong area of support, or we're going to see it plummet straight back down to around that 1700 level. Don't know. The one thing that I'm holding out for, because it is the end of the week, yes, it is the end of the week, end of the month, is towards about the end of the first week of July, we have a seasonal bias for a rally long, which is meant to, oh look, it was the August rally that saw us see gold kiss 2000, or pop over that 2000 level, and that was in August last year. And look, are we going to have that same benefit again? I don't know. I'd like to see it, but let's just sit and wait. So at the moment, we've got a very nice, neat, tight range going sideways, going nowhere fast. But obviously we need some more impetus, and we'll see what month end brings. Thanks, Paul.
Geez, Ainslie, 1781 for weekly pivot by the look of it, 1781.23. So that will give us a little bit of something to work with as we go forward, right?
Yeah. That's not much to go on, because that's banging in the middle of that very tight range. So. Yeah,
it's boy, it loves to do this, doesn't it? Bang up, bang down, just go nowhere for a period of time. It is the gold way, right?
Yeah, it gives you plenty of time to run off and get the housework done, and and at the moment I'm running absolutely nowhere, because we're in lockdown again for 2 weeks, and that's just been extended for all of New South Wales, and it's imminent that it looks like right across the country. So very unfortunate, but what a way to spend school holidays.
They've just extended us for 2 days, and I was grumpy enough for that. One of you insiders came and ran around here, making us all sick. Not that there's been any cases, but we've been locked down for 3 days with no cases. We've got a couple more days to go. We're not locked down. We're only level 2 here. It's pretty mellow. Yeah, the Australian thing looks a bit rough. Ainslie, gosh, I think it's a big miss at the moment. You know, if you ask me, when the analysts are looking at the world, one thing we're not really pricing in is the fact that COVID comes back and has a real run at us. And, you know, I just think that you'd be, you know, I'm a big fan of vaccines. I'm a big fan of governments doing what they're doing. Lockdowns are the right thing to do. This is not that, you know, people say, well, you know, more people die of the flu, or more people die of the flu because we don't lock down with the flu. If we hadn't locked down for COVID, we'd have killed a lot of people. And I really have to say right now, it doesn't look great for mine. And this Delta variant is no fun at all, and could really put a bit of a spanner in these markets over the next few weeks. I just have a feeling we might see some numbers pop up somewhere. We might see the markets go, oops. You know, I think the market's disregarding it. I think that's probably a very brave thing to do.
I think so, and I think this is where, you know, remember going back to the beginning of last year, Europe and the US very much considered COVID an Asian problem, or, you know, they really hadn't caught on to how it's going to pan out, how this Delta variant is now going to have an impact not only on economies, like, you know, they're saying it's going to cost $3 billion for New South Wales to be shut down for 2 weeks, which is, you know, it's quite a dent. But you just look at that and how it's going to impact businesses on the ground. I mean, on the flip side, you look at somewhere like India, and then I'm reading Mukesh Ambani, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name properly, but he's looking at pivoting and spending $10 billion on changing his petrochemical oil refining company in the middle of a pandemic. It's going to start, but you're just like crazy, crazy stuff. You go from one extreme to the other. But
Yeah, the market,
and
markets were really slow last year to price it in, right? They really were slow to price it in, and they just appear to be ignoring it. And again, there's no need for panicking or anything like that. But you look at it and just go, shit, excuse my language, on YouTube, Facebook, etc. This thing might not quite be done, and that is a scary, scary thought.
It is. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. Well, a couple hundred, that was mine, Angie. I was going to come over in a couple of weekends. I'm going to get now. I can't get home, you know. Actually, New Zealand has closed the bubble with the whole of Australia.
For 3 days.
They've closed the bubble with the whole of Australia. There are a few other concerns, aren't there? Some stuff in Brisbane, some stuff in Perth. All of a sudden, this looks like this needs to be got on top of really quickly, right?
Yeah, and hopefully they will. But it didn't help that this started from and patient zero was a limo driver from Bondi who went and picked up infected airline crew out at the airport without being vaccinated and without a mask on.
Look, I hope I don't offend anyone here, but it does seem to me as if Australia is consistently paying for rank stupidity. If it's not security guards sleeping with people in isolation, it's limo drivers not wearing masks and getting vaccinations they're supposed to get. Boy, oh boy. Tell you what, you'd be unpopular in this country with that kind of stuff. We
try the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Not a popular person. He's not popular.
Look, I'm sure we thought it was going to be okay, but boy, that is $3 billion. He'll be paying that off for a long time. Thank you very much for the look at gold, and we'll talk oil with you. And look, towards the other way, just keeps on going. Just keeps on going. These big end targets look pretty good. But before we get to oil, let's have a chat with Shukri. Shukri, on Friday, options expired on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That fear crapped itself, if you don't mind the expression, and hit some lows, pushed down a bit more on Saturday, but well on the bounce today.
Yeah, well on the bounce. So let's see the market that everybody sees, which is Bitcoin. But let's see another market, which people do not see, which is more important than Bitcoin, is the altcoin market. But it's another type of altcoin market. And I'll show you what's happening because the big boys are even here. But first, our favorite cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, again ranging. Yes, you saw before the options expiration. Yeah, I did read an article in Cointelegraph that they're just going to push this below 32 because then, some 150 million worth of options would expire worthless. So forgive the market makers, they need to make money too. They did that, okay? And once they did that, whoa, okay, we're on the bounce again. But if you look at this, it is tracing a very, very interesting pattern. Almost perfect. The Wyckoff accumulation, we basically went down here and now we're here again. That is quite interesting, but don't celebrate yet. I know people are saying, oh, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that. Yes, but you also have to put a date here on what will happen, because what happened on May 19th and last week, I can't even remember last week, that dip to below 29 may happen again. Let me show you. And then we'll see what's happening in another market that we don't see. Okay, this is very important. Look at all these fundamental things. This is good, actually, good and bad and good, or good and bad, depending on how you look at it. Bitcoin sell pressure, look. Grayscale is unlocking the biggest Bitcoin, 16,000 worth of Bitcoins on July 17th. Some people say July 17th. Some people say July 19th. What caused last week's dip was another unlocking from Grayscale plus the miners selling. So remember, you're going to have this big event on the 17th or 19th, whenever it is. Just remember that date. Now, look at this. Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey agreed to discuss Bitcoin at the B Word event. That's good. This is going to be big. This is July 21st. So is it possible that we make a dip on 17th and 19th and come back up because of these two? Highly possible. That's why when you want to look at that Wyckoff thing, you always have to keep this into consideration. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about Ethereum because it's the same old thing. That is a mistake. Let's look at other things that people don't see. Last week, Andreessen Horowitz announced another crypto fund. This is 4 times bigger than their last crypto funds. It's 2.2 billion, by the way, and they're putting it in a lot of areas. One of the most interesting areas is actually DeFi. Aha! And what is DeFi all about? DeFi is also about staking to get rewards, free coins, interest, whatever you call them. So guys, in order to respond to this, and because the gas fees are low, don't forget that on Saturday, we have a wallets class to teach you how to do this and we're gonna do some real money there. The winner will get real money. The rest of you can still practice doing it because guys, this is what's happening. Look at this. Deutsche Telekom's T-System MMS runs Celo blockchain staking for Andreessen Horowitz. If a top VC is staking and doing DeFi, why aren't you doing it? And look at how this has moved the markets. This is the high gainers. Look at Celo. Oh, wow, it's double during the past week because they have been staking. So if you want to see the equation, come on Saturday, okay, that event is going to happen. And it's not only wallets, it's wallet, and we stake some things for DeFi and all that. Now, other things that's happening is that I've always been saying, right, this is a special period because this is the time that, because people think that maybe, just maybe, if we go to a bear market, you will get a lot of airdrops. You will get a lot of free tokens, and the chances are higher to get it. And actually, during the last wallets class, okay, I didn't mention the name covertly, but I showed you a token. I said, hey, if you want to do something, go get this token now. That token that I didn't mention on the last free wallets class just announced the biggest airdrop of the year. You put 1,000, you kind of get 1,000 back out, 100%, right? So, and Paul has also been through another 100% round like that. So, guys, it's time now to look at staking. We can go forever on Bitcoin and we can discuss, okay, it's doing this, but this, or, okay, let's change the thing here. Let's also review what is happening under the scene here, because if this explodes, okay, if you want to come in when things explode, it's not going to be the same anymore. Okay, you're not going to get this anymore. When things come back, when the mainstream media start talking this up, you won't get this anymore. And in fact, I think Paul, we were supposed to talk about a token from New Zealand, right?
Yes, we are.
Correct. This is probably the hottest token. And those of you that got into the ICO last time but were unsuccessful, as long as you did the KYC, will get automatic approval this time. That's great. Which is why in crypto, but guys, if the market didn't go down, we wouldn't get this, okay? I'm just telling you, we wouldn't get this. So sometimes a down market is good.
Cheers, Shukri. Like the sound of the new wallets class on the weekend. Sounds bloody awesome, mate, with the bit of coin being given to us to give away and stake, and a little bit extra we'll be giving away as well. So some actual examples here of how to get into a coin and to stake it and get a high daily return. So looking forward to that part as well.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my banks too. I don't know about you guys, but the dot plot and all this it's 2 years away. What do you want me to do in 2 years? I don't know, Ash. I have no idea. I hope somebody can guide me.
Yeah, look, I think the idea is that you put your money in the bank, get no return for the next 2 years, Shukri. That's what's really going to happen. And, it'd be interesting, it's a bit tough in the world, isn't it? Because where we are, interest rates either stay down when no one gets a return, or they starts going up, but people start getting returns and people get mortgagee sold out of their houses because they've all borrowed this money at 1%, 2%, and it's going to go to 5 or 6 or 7% at some stage. And when they do, how guys hold on through that in this stage, so the world's got a long way to go on the way back, and never mind the Delta strain running around and causing a little more chaos. You locked down as well, Shukri? Are you locked down as well?
Yes, I'm locked down. Unfortunately, our lockdown is the best lockdown. We don't know when we will come off lockdown. We have to look at the numbers again.
So we're about half and half. That's you, me, Ainslie. I think Lloyd's kind of locked down. So you and Ainslie locked down. I'm kind of locked down. Lloyd's kind of locked down. Ash and Julian out in the world. I think probably locked down. It's a interesting world we live in right now.
Yeah, the thing, Paul, about this, like in Malaysia, okay, it came out last week. I guess we were expecting that. This is for the people in the normal world, okay? There's an IPO mania. People are locked down. They don't know what to do. They have to make money. It's still the assets. Again, I don't know about this dot plot. Okay, I know, but I don't know where to put my money. It doesn't solve my problems.
No, mate, it really doesn't. And at the end of the day, you know, if they're saying that we're going to see some inflation come back, if we have a little bit of inflation come back and interest rates at next to nothing, that's going to be a time lag for the average person where our net wealth's all going to go backwards. It's hard to get your head around some of this stuff. And it's one of the things Julian said, we must, he'll be in the next couple of weeks doing his macro review and must get a chance for people to ask him some questions because he's very good at putting this stuff back into normal people's language and explaining this stuff really clearly. But we are in a situation where when you start looking forward, it's hard to find a pathway forward that's a really happy pathway for everybody. For that to happen, we probably need growth to drive some jobs, for interest rates to go up really slowly. You've still got guys and you know, with mortgages, they've got to have wage rises before they have mortgage rises. Otherwise, that's trouble for those guys, and there's a lot of them in the world. Anyway, we'll wait and see how it plays out in the meantime.
Yeah, Paul, one good news for Malaysia.
Right?
A good news for Malaysia. We hope we get it tomorrow. They think it's a strong rumor, but they may give us the moratorium again. Correct.
There you go. There you go. Cheers, Shukri. Thank you very much. Let's go to Ainslie and talk oil. Look, Ainslie, it's the one thing to all of this that just goes up, right? It just goes up, goes up, goes up. It doesn't want to actually pull the robot settings back on it on Friday and said, hey, I think it's going to pull back, and it just popped up again.
Yeah, look, this last week's been quite interesting, and there was a pullback at the end of last week, and a bit of congestion, and then guess what? We had this almighty move up here on Tuesday morning, beginning of the week. And what was that? If you want to have a guess.
What was that?
Contracts expired. And that was the run up. And if that doesn't give you an idea, that candle there, because contracts expired, if that doesn't give you an idea where most people think that oil is going to go, I'm not sure what will.
Just so everyone's got $90 to $100 on it, right? Everybody's got a chop at $90 to $100. But it is right on some resistance as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So the rest of the week, you know, once the contract expired, and then we just had a bit of a nothing week, and then there was a bit of chop around, and that chop came from OPEC starting to talk about easing supply restrictions again. And whilst there wasn't a manic retracement on oil this week, it was certainly a bit choppy. It wasn't really going up until it decided, oh, okay, we really should be going long. And then we just had this one single bar at the end of the week. It just went, and that was it. But the rest of the week has been a bit of a chop after expiry contracts. And that was it. But I can see it is amazing because, you know, you look back and we can say, you know, when it was at $30, people were very excited thinking that it might go to 50. When it got to 50, people saying, well, do you think it'll get to 70? And now we're at 70, and it's really held its own above 70 now for the last, well, apart from that little dip, it didn't stay down there very long though. It just, you know, as you said, the pundits are all talking about, and the trader sentiment as well, is that it's going to go to 100. So is it possible? Yeah, probably. But if you just pop across here and have a little look on my monthly chart, we're coming into this nice strong level of resistance. So once we get up to around that 75 mark, I would imagine we can expect a little bit of resistance before, you know, we've broken the 200 simple moving average on a monthly chart, and there's been no retest of that. So I would expect if we get to 75 during this week, expect a little bit of chop to get on our bike up to 100. So just be mindful of that, guys. That's a really strong level we're coming into trading oil long.
Cheers, Ainslie. Thank you very much. The big part with trading oil at the moment is getting some pullbacks to trade, right?
Yeah. So I don't think it'll be. I think we'll get to 75, and then it'll be a bit of a bumpy ride backwards and forwards. I think until we get clear of that level and get it retested, and then move forward. But that's just a very technical level.
Yeah, I've got to say, I tend to agree with you. The 74.70 on mine, I've got it at, and certainly in that area around 74.70, 75.20, somewhere in there. There's certainly some stuff in the way. I've been interested to see, boy, if it does go through that in a hurry, it'd be pretty, all of a sudden, hurry comes into play pretty quickly, but I'd be expecting it to pull back off that a little bit first. Thank you very much, Ainslie.
Yeah. Okay. Have a good week.
Look, it's great that they're not at school, because that means that, you know, you don't have to do any day schooling, but really they can't go out, right? So school holidays are still camping at home with mum, right?
That's right. And even some of the shops around here, you know, to whip down to, it's right next door to one of the hotspots as well.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we've got hotspots right on our doorstep, so they're not going anywhere at all. But plenty of things to do. We'll teach them things like ironing, dusting, vacuuming.
There's a lot of you in your house, Angie. I reckon there's some people in your house that can do that stuff already. Why do you teach them how to trade gold?
Because gold's going nowhere. Actually, yeah, my younger one's more interested in trading than my older one, who is more interested in spending the returns from trading gold. So, you know,
there's a few people around that love doing that, let me tell you. Cheers, Angie. Thank you very much. Have a good, safe week. Take care over there and do stay safe.
Bye.
Cheers. Right. Next up, we've got Lloyd doing currency strength. He's currency index strength. Have a look at the different currencies and tell us which ones are strong and which ones are weak at the moment. Perhaps have a look for the strongest and the weakest. Hey, Lloyd, how you going?
Hi, Paul. Yep,
Hi,
so I'm back this week with the currency strength. And truthfully speaking, I don't see anything good from the analysis. And I'll share with you why. Yeah.
I like
so
that, Lloyd.
The first up is I'll always end. Sorry, Paul, I didn't quite catch you.
I like that, Lloyd. We should be truthful about it, right? Sometimes there's just nothing to do, right? So we just got to wait.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a better time to wait out for this week. Yeah. So I always done my analysis in the form of strongest to weakest, but the fact is that this week I don't see anything that's strong or particularly strong that would pique my interest. So I share with you why. So let's look at of that. I think yen might possibly strengthen. I'm using the word might because if you look at the weekly analysis of yen, it's down up to $90. Yeah. So in the past, $90 is where it starts to bounce off. Yeah. So this is more of a reversal play than a trend play. It's a strong horizontal level, so there's a good chance that price might bounce off, but I'll still be very, very wary of it. Now and this is actually the strongest of them all that I think that might possibly strengthen. So that will tell you a lot about my sentiments about the chart. So the next in play is actually Kiwi. So Kiwi is the same. You can see that I have this range for a very long time already. And last week, price broke down, bounced off $70, which is a very nice whole number. And then now it seems to strengthen. Yeah. So my gut feeling is telling me that it will actually break back into the range. It has happened before. But technically, this is still a reversal at play. It's not a trend trading momentum. Yeah. As for CXY Canadian Index, again the same thing. So it is actually trending. It is trending. So again, I would say this is probably the nicest pair of them all. Price broke, weakened all the way to $80, and it seems that it's strengthening back. Yeah. So if you want a trend trading approach, then I would say CAT is probably the pair to go. Though technically it might not seem the strongest. Yeah. Simply because you can see that at 83, which is in the past, it interacted before. Yeah. So this for trend trading play, CAT strengthening is the best play, but it doesn't display the best strength. That's my opinion. DXY, officially, I would say that this is probably still in a range. Yeah, price did bounce beautifully at 90. Then again, you have this horizontal level. So if you zoom out at the bigger picture, it is range. Simple as that. Euro index, we have a double top. Price broke down. Now, I have nothing that is strong, but I have probably half of them that is weakening. So that's causing a bit of a dilemma on my side. Yeah. So EXY, the Euro index, you can see that it really break down. So I'm just waiting for price to retrace back to 120, and I'll be happy to short it. Then the issue is what am I shorting it against? Now, Australia index, if you recall, for the past few weeks, I've been saying that it's in the same situation as the New Zealand index. It's ranging. So price broke down. I will still steer clear of this currency Now, if price really have a retest, a break and retest and go short, I'll still have plenty of time to short it in the next week. Probably not this week, but for those of you who are a bit trigger happy, then keep a lookout for a break and retest, to go short for the Australian index. Pound, same situation as Euro. You can see that price double top, broke down, retested 140. Looks like a healthy situation to actually go short on this. But you will face the same dilemma as Euro index. What am I shorting against? And the weakest of the patch from the analysis, it will still be, I wouldn't say weakest, but just by looking at it, will still be Swiss index. So why do I say that? Very nice, lower high, very nice, lower low. So I'm just waiting for price to retest 110, and then I'll be happy to go for short positions. Now on that, I'll still be recommending two currencies that you may possibly keep a lookout for. One is still Swiss yen, so I'm still shorting the weakest against the strongest. Let's have a look at Swiss yen. So the 4-hour chart is a bit ranging, so I'm just waiting for price to break down, retest, and I'm happy to go short. The next pair that I'll be keeping a lookout is actually Pound Kiwi. You can see that on the 4-hour chart, price is starting to weaken already. So this will be the last major support area. I'm just waiting for price to weaken, break and retest, and I'm happy to go for a short position. So remember, this is a 4-hour chart, so price tends to move a bit faster and a bit more volatile. So that's all from me, Paul.
Cheers, Lloyd. Thank you very much for that. Do remember at the end of the show, we will be putting you guys into a draw to win a $50 Action 12 online trading profit voucher. And also, those that have asked questions, we will give you a chance to, in the question area, those that have asked questions will get two goes at it. So I'm sorry, Lewis, on the NFP thing, I don't think we got that to Ainslie in time. We'll wait and see whether NFP does turn the market around. Right, Geoff has sent a recording in. I'm going to get Mike to grab the screen, she'll play the recording at the end of the recording. We're going to come back, and we're going to come back. I'm a good bit here. Come back and do the price draw.
What an interesting couple of weeks we've had. The lead up to the Fed itself, the statement, the reaction to the statement, and of course last week the reaction to the reaction of the statement, which all means we've had a little bit of a topsy-turvy couple of weeks, and that's very evident in the charts. And that has also given a little bit of a cloud across the market structures. You will notice by this scanner that there are absolutely oodles of key reversal bars this week. All these yellow boxes mean that we have key reversals. Of course, the Aussie pairs, the CAD and the Kiwi, the commodity cares had a better week after some poor ones around that Fed announcement. The yen came crashing back to earth after a good couple of weeks as well, and the euro and the pound had a mixed week. Out of all of that, I have chosen three that I want to have a good look at this week. Euro Swissy is not really a classic key reversal, but this one really comes under notice because of, well, I suppose the double top, the lower low, the lower high. So in other words, the trend that we've gone into, and that of course being downward. You'll notice I've got a buy order on that, and we've been trading that. Of course there's profit in the bank there, so no need to be concerned. I can totally relate to this key reversal bar here. Not classic because it does have a white body, but they're the kind of ones I really like. It follows up a key reversal bar going the opposite direction the previous week, and like I said, the market structure's been thrown a little bit into turmoil by the Fed and the reaction to that statement and press conference. So I'm keen to see this bar actually go short or lead the market short, and I think if there are no surprises in gaps tomorrow morning, and I saw a little bit of a lower high based on this reversal bar, then I would be interested in trading this short. It is nearer to the bottom of this range than I would like, that's true, but a bit of a retracement does get me interested. As I said, maybe on Tuesday morning we could have a look at that one. The second of these, not dissimilar, but much more tradable in my humble opinion, is pound Swissy. And on the daily chart, you can see that we have a clear potential, let me call it that, false break. I love the fact that we've closed on the pivots of last week, and of course the monthly pivot as well. A retracement here on those two bars back to this trade line would be absolutely what the doctor ordered here. And if I got a reversal bar at that point, well, not really, I don't even need a reversal bar, I just need a bullish decisive bar here on the daily chart. So if I'm delivered that tomorrow, then happy days. If that actually doesn't come and we break through the pivots and retest, well, the weekly pivot won't be there, but the monthly will. If we broke through the pivots and retested them, that would be good enough for me as well. So I'd love to trade this down to the bottom of the range. The bigger picture, of course, is giving you that key reversal bar of last week, and that's a classic, maybe even tradable. I'd hesitate to advise that, given that there could be gaps in the market in the morning, but this clear potential for reversal is quite evident to me, and I think trading to the bottom of that range is a relatively safe prospect, and perhaps you even get the breakthrough and get more out of that one as well. The third and final one that I'm looking at this week is Euro Aussie. Now, Euro Aussie, we're looking at that on the weekly chart again a key reversal bar. Not perfect positioning for this one, because it does look a little bit like a left shoulder, massive head, and potential right shoulder here. So this may well go in that direction ultimately. Not talking ultimately at this stage. I do see this false breakout, which is interesting, of these highs, and that generally leads me to a lower price once we see those three failed breaks. Tough to be trading into the monthly pivot right now, although there is space to take profit. That's the daily chart. Would love to see a pullback here. The weekly pivot will come down, potentially in this vicinity, and that looks great to me as a potential short if price were to get up to here. Maybe give me a reversal bar, but certainly a lower high based on these. Big tweezer top sitting there as well. I would love to see that, and I think if we can take profit before the monthly pivot off a key reversal bar here, perhaps on the on the daily chart on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think that would be a good way to go as well. So it's weak euro, weak euro, weak pound. I'm not saying strong Aussie or strong Swissy, but I am saying it against both the euro and the pound. So that's what we're looking for the week. And that, as usual, is my 2 cents worth.
Cheers, Geoff. Thanks for that. I really do appreciate you putting the video in while you're sitting at home watching the State of Origin. And last I saw, it was a pretty poor contest to watch as well. We will catch up on that. Not the best contest in history this year's State of O by the look of that. Rightio, next up we're going to have do our prize draw. Let's do the prize draw and we'll let everybody go and enjoy their Sunday. You've got a couple more meetings tonight, so let's jump into those. What do you got for us? Who's going to be a winner? $50 voucher. You ready? Here we go. The Wheel of Fortune. You've got to be in the room to be the winner. You've got to be in it to win it. It's close between the Garys, isn't it? Looks like Gary L's our winner now. Gary, you'll need to post in and tell us that you're here. If you do that, then we will give you a $50 voucher. If you don't, Gary Lim, if you don't post in and let us know you're here, then we will have to give that to somebody else and have another draw. We do like doing extra draws here. Gary, are you with us? Gary L, are you with us? 5, 4, 3. Ready, Mai? Oh, yeah, Gary L. Gary, you got 2 seconds to tell us you're here. Gary, you got 1 second to tell you're here. It is redraw time, Mai. Let's do redraw number 1. Redraw number 1. Let's have another winner. It was pretty tight between the Garys, wasn't it? Oh, well, I'm here, but I don't think it's me. I don't think I'm the Paul that they're talking about. Paul P. Paul, can you drop a message in the chat and let us know that you are here? Cheers, Paul. Congratulations, mate. That's a $50 voucher. Mai will get that sorted out. She will let James know he's back in the office tomorrow, so we'll sort something out with you pretty quickly and give you your $50 voucher. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Interesting time in the market for mine. Look, it might just be the dollar strength pops back this week and we're off to a really nice period of trading. It may be that it's not quite here. We'll wait and see. But bit of a frustrating week last week, but I have a feeling we've got a good week not too far away. Cheers, everybody. Take care. Trade well. Stay calm and make good decisions. See you all.